If a corporate is just getting involved in Libor and what's happening in Libor, I think I would say, first of all, you've got to do a survey of what type of debt documents, derivative instruments, that sort of thing that you have in place where Libor might be in play. So the first thing you got to do is get a handle on what type of facilities you have out there that may be potentially impacted by a discontinuation of Libor. I think it's a little bit more settled in the derivatives world, in the ISDA world, that SOFR will be the replacement there. In the credit agreement world, I think having conversations with your administrative agent about doing an amendment to account for that. And I would say the most common amendments we're seeing done now are amendments that allow an administrative agent and the borrower to agree to a replacement index. A lot of times those have a mechanism in them where if it's a syndicated facility or a club facility where there are other banks in play, those banks have an option to sort of veto that if they object within a certain number of days. But having that sort of pre-baked into credit agreements, I think, is a good first step. And that, I would say, is the most common thing we're seeing done in the market now, because it's a little bit unclear in the credit facility world what the replacement index will be. It's not, SOFR is not necessarily the default there. Do I think that a corporate should familiarize itself with SOFR? Absolutely. There's a lot of, again, if they have swaps or hedging arrangements that rely on Libor, it will be important to get up to speed on SOFR and the replacement there. I think there's no harm in getting up to speed on it, generally speaking, in the credit facility world, because there is some talk that that would be the replacement. But I think the issue in the credit agreement world is SOFR is not sort of an exact match to Libor, so there are other adjustments that would likely have to be made to folks' applicable margins and that sort of thing to make the pricing work out if SOFR does become the standard in credit agreements. Are corporates voicing their concerns about Libor phase out and fallback language? Absolutely. I think every corporate that I've dealt with that has a credit agreement amendment pending or is in the process of doing a refinancing is addressing this proactively with their banks. And again, the preferred route of going is, again, to have the mechanism built into your agreement such that the administrative agent and the borrower could agree to the replacement index once that's sort of established in the market, and then the required lenders essentially would only have a veto right, but it does sort of pre-bake that into the facility, which I think is sort of the best we can do at this point.